We've all been talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows, and things are not looking good for Ubisoft because they have two controversial games that are releasing soon, the first being Star Wars Outlaws, and then, of course, Assassin's Creed Shadows. But now, the official Assassin's Creed subreddit is threatening to ban players simply for questioning the storylines and decisions they've made with this game. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, we've all been talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows, and it seems that the people at Ubisoft are kind of melting down over this backlash. A lot of them have been silent, but the few that have come out and talked about the game have just simply been saying they're focused on their vision, and we just had recently gotten their half apology. It's not even really an apology, it's just an acknowledgement that people are upset with the decisions they've made. And now we've got the subreddit threatening to ban players. It says moderators for the Assassin's Creed subreddit threaten to ban any players who post in the forum disputing the developer Ubisoft's original claim that Yasuke is a powerful African samurai of historical legend. Now, since they initially released the teasers for this game and announced this game, things have shifted a little bit because originally they were promoting the fact that he was a powerful African samurai of historical legend, but now that people have started to call out them and the sources they've used, like Thomas Lockley, they've sort of shifted away from that and they've just been focused on promoting it as another Assassin's Creed game, not really highlighting the fact that Yasuke is a person who actually lived, he's a historical figure, just that, oh, he's the first black samurai. That's all they've really been promoting, and they think that that's magically going to work and get people interested in this game, I suppose. I don't necessarily think that that's going to work. They need to offer us more. But now you have the subreddit allegedly threatening to ban players. Now, of course, when it comes to subreddits, they are ran usually by different moderator teams, not developers. Sometimes there are developers on these lists, and it will be interesting to see if there are any. But as of right now, we know that at least the moderators cannot be reined in because they're throwing around the ban word. It says the moderators posted a thread on July 28th titled, "There is no debate. Yasuke was a samurai. If you disagree, you can do that somewhere else." You would think that on the Assassin's Creed subreddit, they would allow discussions about Assassin's Creed. I understand that there are people out there who believe everything Ubisoft is saying and want to buy this game and want to support it, and that's great. You're allowed to believe what you want. You're allowed to support what you want. But on the flip side, people should be allowed to question Ubisoft, the sources they've used, like Thomas Lockley, and just have general discussions about this game and ultimately the decisions that they've made, especially on a subreddit for the franchise. The thread itself reads, "With the reveal of Assassin's Creed Shadows, there has been an influx of certain individuals spilling into various communities online, such as this subreddit, and raising arguments about historical accuracy." The big difference with this is the fact that he is a playable character. If they simply added Yasuke as an NPC, 50% of the backlash right now wouldn't exist, but because he is playable and because you are able to make decisions like having gay romances, for example, which has been confirmed now, that's not going to sit well with people. There's no evidence that Yasuke was gay or interested in men, none of that. And to just allow the player to treat him as if he's a randomly player created character, that's not okay. If he was just an NPC or a companion that you could talk to and that would give you information, and his storyline wasn't exactly accurate, a lot of people wouldn't care because he's not the focal point of the game, but because he's playable, that's a big issue. He's the first playable historical figure in this franchise, and that's why people are being so critical. You've had historical figures in Assassin's Creed like Cleopatra, Leonardo da Vinci, George Washington, and they were fine because it's not like they were the focal point. But now, when you're doing this, People are, yes, going to be extremely critical of the decisions you've made. It says, as we are all exhausted of this tedious discussion that has been endlessly talked to death, not to mention exacerbated by a recent official statement from Ubisoft, we would like to give a final reminder to those participating in these debates as to what exactly this franchise entails and why there was never any point to these discussions to begin with outside of thinly veiling bad faith intent. Yada, yada, yada. That's all I'm hearing from them. They are trying their very best to defend Ubisoft. They do not want there to be discussion that they do not agree with. Again, they're allowed to believe Ubisoft and that they had, genuinely good intentions with this game, but there is another group of people who disagree, and clearly this group of people is very large. There's hundreds of thousands to millions of people watching videos on YouTube, making posts about it on X, just discussing it, wanting to discuss it on places like the official Assassin's Creed subreddit, but they're silencing individuals now, which isn't ever okay. And this is only going to make things even worse, because when you push people away and off of a platform and you ban them, you lock threads, you silence them, it's only going to cause the Streisand effect to happen. Now, there are a lot of people already discussing Assassin's Creed, but now every time people talk about it, they can mention, oh, by the way, the official subreddit also was silencing people, which is not a good look. Nothing that Ubisoft and anyone affiliated with them has done over the past few months has looked good for them. Thomas Lockley said that he wasn't working with Ubisoft. We know that they did podcasts together and he has been referenced in some of their material. We know that, the team at Ubisoft apparently wanted to try to quell some of this discussion with their statement, but it only made things work. Japanese players are excoriating Ubisoft after their half-assed apology, which again wasn't even really an apology. It was just oh, hey, we know that you're pissed off, and that's it. And you've got Western gamers who are talking again about another company focusing on DEI instead of creating genuinely great storylines. If they had simply not put a historical figure as the playable character, a lot of this backlash would not exist. It's not that we're racists or sexists or anyists and phobes. It's simply that we have seen a pattern with other games, and we see Ubisoft throwing it away in order to up their ESG score. It's not going to go over well with people, and so far, it hasn't. It will be interesting to see, of course, as we get closer to the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows, how things go over with players. I personally do not think that this is going to reach the sales they're expecting. Yes, Assassin's Creed is an established franchise. There's a lot of people that are not on social media who will simply order it and play it and might love it, and I hope people love it because I want games to be enjoyed by as many people as possible. But I know there are going to be a lot of people refusing to buy this and monetarily supporting Ubisoft, and there's going to be a pretty large boycott surrounding this title. Right now, Ubisoft is in the middle of a massive storm of their own making with Star Wars Outlaws that has terrible graphics, looks extremely low quality, and just doesn't look innovative at all whatsoever. And we've got Assassin's Creed Shadows coming out that has hip-hop music behind the Black Samurai character, and they completely throw away Japanese history and culture in order to promote the ideologies that the company in current day wants to, like DEI. But again, I will be keeping my eye on this subreddit to see if anyone gets banned, if there are mass waves of bans. Only time will tell, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.